invitation, but that was good enough. Happy, we're happy. Well, after months and months of anticipation and waiting and planning, we're finally here. I'm officiating my first wedding. I know, I told you guys I had done several. That was a lie. Perhaps almost as importantly today, we're here for the legal recognition of the relationship between Kelly Vader, Mackerel Kenna, and Billington Wainsworth Curlin, better known to you guys as Bill and Kelly, or to my daughters as Scooty Scoot and Mackie. These are two of the bravest and wisest people I know. And I didn't really realize that until they asked me to officiate their wedding. But they really are. And I am very honored to be here today to make this B-I-L-L into my B-I-L, my brother-in-law. Probably my best material right there, so downhill from here, guys. So anyways, I've broken this intro up into a couple sections. That was the intro. Next section is the things I like about Bill. So Bill, get ready.
Listen up.
One of my favorite things about Bill is just his sense of humor. And he seems to understand my sense of humor, or does a really good job of pretending he does. Which is not easy to do either way. And there's a story I told last night, but it's one of my favorite stories about Bill and people in general. We were at a party for my other sister's wedding, and we didn't really know anybody. We were up in Milwaukee. It was in my brother-in-law's house up in Milwaukee, and all of a sudden this guy comes in, and all the people there, they start going, "Oh, look at Roy's here, this is great, hey, Roy, you're here." And I'm standing back here like this, I don't know Roy. So then Bill comes up to me, very quietly, and goes, "Roy's here." And most of you guys don't probably understand why that's so funny, but I was talking about that for the next week. So Bill just has a tremendous sense of humor. The other thing that is very obvious about Bill from the get-go is that he's very likable, very easy to be around, and my kids love him. It's kind of scary. They know when Bill's coming over, when Scooty Scoot's coming over. It's a special occasion. And I don't know what he did, but they're more excited to see Scoots than they are to see their old dad sometimes. So, automatically that's kind of a telltale sign for me that somebody's a good person. If my kids like you, you get a free pass. If my kids don't like you, another story. We'll talk about that later. The last and most important thing about Bill, though, is I think, not just from something I've witnessed in how he acts, but just kind of an understood aspect of Bill is that I imagine he has to be a very tolerant and compassionate person, because I know that he deals with somebody that I dealt with for a long time, and I was not tolerant and compassionate. And we didn't always hit it off perfectly, but Bill really is. You can tell around Mackie, he is just one of the most tolerant and compassionate people, and I think that's what makes him just a perfect fit for her. It's really hard to find people like that, and when you do, you know. And that's what makes Bill great. The other stuff's pretty cool too. Anyways, that's the things I like about Bill. Hope you enjoyed it. Bill, continue being a really good person so I don't look bad a couple years from now. Now I'm going to go on to the things I like about Mackie. Now, I've known Mackie for a long time. Just about as long as I've known anybody else. Except for my parents, the Admiral and Bashes. I made this metaphor last night, and I think it's perfect and accurate. You guys can be the judge. We're very different people, but we're not oil and water. We are matches and lighter fluid. We both have our uses. Sometimes when you put us together, it was an explosion and it wasn't good. Sometimes it was a lot of fun, which is why we're here today. And honestly, when I think back about it, and Mackie wrote me a little card yesterday, and I read through it, and she had the exact same memories that I always think of. There's probably like 5 or 6 of them. I only remember the really good times and the really fun times we had. She was really my first friend, and up through the time I went to college, we were close, and we understood each other, and I knew more about Mackie than she knew about herself. Unfortunately, I knew how to set her off a little bit. But we had a lot of fun too. So I'll always remember those first 18 years, just having a great time with Mackie. I'll try not to remember the other stuff quite as much, where my dad would just come up to me and go, "God damn it, Chris." But it did happen. The other thing about Mackie, and I think everybody in this room probably recognizes this right away, she's really, really good with people. She's really, really good with kids. My kids love her probably almost as much as they love Scoots, and slightly more than they like me, which is great. Again, it's like when they come over, it's a special occasion. But other people too, I hear this all the time. It's like, "That's your sister?" They're kind of shocked. And she's like, "She's really nice. Wow, I really love her." Which I find a little disrespectful, but at the same time, I'm very proud of Mackie. And she is really good with people and very likable, and they're both just very easy to be around. If you have a problem being around Kelly or Bill, come hang out with me. But the last thing I tried to think of, the one word to define kind of my relationship, and I'll call her Mackie. We're pretty familiar at this point. I came up with this nickname for a long time ago, and I don't know what it means. But the one word that describes my relationship and how I think about Mackie is respect. I think Mackie has been through a lot of tough times, and a lot more than I can understand, and always has persevered and come through it a better person. And to know Mackie growing up and to see her here today, after seeing some of the stuff that she's been through, it's just, I have nothing but respect for her as a person. She is an incredible person, and she deserves another incredible person like Bill. I didn't probably deserve that. I got somebody kind of like that, but it's not because of anything I did. But she's worked very hard to get where she is today and overcome some stuff that I just can't comprehend. And I truly, truly respect her as a person. She wrote in her letter that we've grown apart. I don't think we've grown apart. We've gone down our paths. They're very different paths. But at the end of the day, all my sisters and my family, I have respect for all of them in different ways, and we'll never grow apart. We're still very close. I see them a lot and talk to them a lot, and I respect what they're all doing for different reasons. Now, that's the end of that section. This is probably the most important section, and the reason I'm here today. I want to talk a little bit about marriage. As you know, I think one of the reasons they asked me here today is because they consider me an expert on marriage. I've been married for nearly 10 years, and I've done a pretty good job at it, depending on who you ask. Mostly if you just ask me. But really, as I said at the beginning, marriage is just a legal recognition of what you guys already have. You guys have been together 5 years, I believe, and after a year or two, you can tell you guys knew each other, and it is what it is at that point. This is not going to change anything. There are 3 things that will change. Tomorrow you'll wake up, you'll be wearing a little more jewelry. Your cat, Norm, will be giving you a few less displeased looks about your relationship.
He's so judgy.
That's why they call him Judgy Norm. And of course, you'll both be hyphenating your last name, as we discussed right before this.
Definitely.
All 3 parts of it. So that's the only things that are going to change, though. I consider it, you guys are in a relationship, which is very important. And as we all know, the meaning of the word relationship, the first part of it is relatio, which nobody knows what it means. And the second part is ship, which means bubble. Now obviously, you have to treat your relationship like a bubble. I don't have anything else to add to that part. Just wanted to give you a little background on some word meanings. Give you a little street cred on my knowledge. But really, all relationships are difficult and all of them are rewarding. We've had our difficult times. Me and Bill never had difficult times. Yeah. I gave Bill a ukulele one year for Christmas. Said he was the best gift he ever got for Christmas. But really, I think what's important in a relationship, number one, you guys obviously both have, which is you understand each other's sense of humor. I don't always understand it even, which is pretty weird. But you guys seem to just click. It's like a comedy duo sometimes, and maybe we don't always get it, but it's beautiful. And I wish my wife understood any of my humor the way that you guys understand each other's humor. And I think that's the key to your relationship and keeping it strong and going forward. Always come back to that if you ever have difficult times. Just remember how funny you each are. But the other part that I think is important in relationships, and I wrote down compromise, but I think that's the wrong word. I crossed it out and I put acceptance. Because what you have to do at some point is accept the other person for who they are, and not expect them to change, and not let them expect you to change. There's going to be times when she's going to do something that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe she's doing this. And you'll realize, oh yeah, that is kind of what Mackie does. And the quicker you can come to that realization and realize that this is the person I married, this is the person I got in a relationship with, that's when you'll learn how to accept that and move forward with that and just do your best to play your part, vice versa. Anyways. That's all I have to say about marriage. That ends my intro. That is the end of the sections. I hope you enjoyed each of them.
I did. I liked it.
We'll talk about them later. I have some more stories which could not be included in here. Those will be in the
It's for the cocktail.
unedited version. So anyways, now we're on to the next part. Now Bill and Kelly have asked their cousins, Katie Friend, nope, I messed it up again, their friend, Katie Cousins, to read a short essay by one of their favorite authors.
Been hearing that joke since kindergarten.
Funnier every time.
Try to All I Know About Love by Neil Gaiman. Try not to cry. This is everything I have to tell you about love. Nothing. This is everything I've learned about marriage. Nothing. Only that the world out there is complicated, and there are beasts in the night, and delight and pain. And the only thing that makes it okay, sometimes, is to reach out a hand in the darkness and find another hand to squeeze, and not to be alone. It's not the kisses, or never just the kisses. It's what they need. Somebody's got your back. Somebody knows your worst self and somehow doesn't want to rescue you, or send for the army to rescue them. It's not two broken halves becoming one. It's the light from a distant lighthouse, bringing you both safely home. Because home is wherever you are both together. So this is everything I have to tell you about love and marriage. Nothing. Like a book without pages or a forest without trees. Because there are things you cannot know before you experience them. Because no study can prepare you for the joys or the trials. Because nobody else's love, nobody else's marriage is like yours. And it's a road you can only learn by walking it. A dance you cannot be taught. A song that did not exist before you began together to sing. And because in the darkness you will reach out a hand, not knowing for certain that someone else is even there. And your hands will meet, and then neither of you will ever need to be alone again. And that's all I know about love.
Love you. might catch that. She looks smoking hot, everyone.
All right. Apologize for the joke. Anyways, now Kelly and Bill have very bravely, as I said, they're very brave, they've chosen to write their own vows. And after spending months in intense training, actually learning how to read and write, they will read them now.
Oh, I didn't know.
All right. Don't lock your knees. Don't lock your knees, everybody. Kelly, we're finally here. Soonly weds, no more. After 5 years of dating, 4 years of cohabitation, 18 months of engagement, hundreds of concerts, thousands of frozen pizzas, and one failed experiment into getting Norm a friend, we're here. And to paraphrase former President Gerald Ford, our long virginal nightmare is over. But the wait seems so long because this day always felt inevitable. From day one, we fit perfectly. I didn't realize what I was missing until you snapped into place. You're my better half in every sense of the term, and you continue to astonish me with your kindness, your intelligence, your wit, your comedic timing, your vulnerability, your breathtaking good looks, your love, your everything. You are the unexpected intrusion of beauty that turns each ordinary day into an extraordinary life. Which is why I can say these words with all my heart and without trepidation. I will always support you. My hand will always be there when you reach for it in dark moments and bright, when scary things happen in horror movies, or when heartwarming things happen in Pixar films. I will always encourage you to grow, to learn, to challenge yourself, to challenge me, so that our bonds only strengthen with the opportunities and adversities we face. I will always trust you with my feelings and my inadequacies, and my dad puns and word mashups, like John C. Reilly Cyrus or Cat Steven Seagal. See, they're not very good, are they? She has to deal with this all the time. I will always be your comedic partner, your fellow adventurer, your chamber match, your begrudging selfie taker, your co-parent to an anxious feline, and now your husband. I will always love you. Now let's go have a lifetime.
Those were good. I thought about this later. I was like, we should not have tried to follow Neil Gaiman. But now I can follow you. Whew, okay. Version 3 of 64. On August 4th, 2013, I wrote in my journal, "My trouble with relationships is that they seem so final. You make your choice and then you have to live with it. I can't imagine being that sure, that willing." Almost exactly 2 months later, I saw you at Aaron and Pat's wedding. Your face lit up with what was probably recognition, but what I like to think was love at first sight. After all, I clean up real nice. I was glad to see you too. And by the end of the night, there were butterflies. And by the end of that year, I knew what my real trouble with relationships was. It wasn't that I was too scared or lazy or selfish to love someone. It was that I hadn't met you. Because once we connected, permanence didn't seem scary. You weren't a choice I had to live with. You were and you are a gift, the greatest gift of my life. And after 5 years, you're still the first person I want to tell when I have good news, bad news, and most especially, completely irrelevant and mundane news. You are my greatest love, my hero, and my rock. Sometimes I even think you're my consolation prize from the universe. You know, to make up for all the mood disorders and addiction issues. And I'm going to give you up for all the mental health in the world. One, because that would be really boring. And two, because everything I've been through has led me here. to the most kind-hearted, quick-witted, spectacular, and perfect man I've ever known. I'm so nervous. And as an independent lady, capital I, capital L, I want to say I don't need you. But the truth is I do need you. I have allowed myself to need you. And I am a better, more courageous person because of it. I love you with all my heart, Bill Kurland, and I cannot wait to spend the rest of my life with you. We can't kiss it.
Hi, yes, please.
Oh.
Don't kiss it. My goodness, you guys are good at writing.
We just learned too.
Quick learners, indeed. That was beautiful. I almost thought about crying. And now we have the Cousins Curlin, who sounds like a band from Ireland, but I guess just 3 people, or actually those cousins. We'll read a collection of quotes by a few of Bill and Kelly's favorite comedians.
A reading from the book of Will Ferrell. Before you marry a person, you should first make them use a computer with slow internet to see who they really are.
Weddings are cool because you can cry in public about other stuff as long as you look in the general direction of the bride and groom. Chelsea Peretti.
Real love amounts to withholding the truth, even when you've offered the perfect opportunity to hurt someone's feelings. David Sedaris.
I wanted to cheer him up, but it was a weird feeling wanting to cheer up someone who was possibly depressed because they didn't murder you correctly. And that's when I thought, this must be what love is. When you want to make it less difficult for someone to murder you. And that's when I realized I was far too in love with him for my own good, and that I probably needed therapy. Jenny Lawson.
I'm getting married today. My only fear is that instead of I do, I'll say I do. Take your time.
Spend a few minutes a day really listening to your spouse, no matter how stupid his problems sound to you. Megan Mullally.
It's probably not love if you don't press your face to the toilet seat after they've used it to feel the warmth. Rob Delaney.
And then on our 4th date, he said one of the most romantic things I've ever heard. I know they don't let you have sharp stuff in the psych ward. When my mom was in there, she grew a little beard. If that happens to you, I'll come in and shave your beard for you. His mother, Linda, has passed away, but I think she'd be proud of her son that he's ready with a daisy razor. I've been stable for the last several years, but I'm comforted with the promise of support. Maria Bamford.
I think one of the things we find most attractive about each other is the lengths to which we'll make an ass of ourselves in the name of comedy. Nick Offerman.
Also Kelly and Bill.
Why buy the cow? Maybe because every day the cow asks you when you're going to buy it, and you live in a really small apartment with the cow, and you can't avoid the question at all. Also, the cow is way better at arguing than you are. But for real, why buy the cow? Let's be real. Why buy the cow? Because you love her. You really do.
Apparently, deadpan comedy delivery runs in the Curlin family. Very impressive. Now, it's time for me to make this narrative official. And we have the rings, Robert. Thank you, sir. Billington. As you place this ring on Kelly's finger, please repeat after me. Kelly,
Kelly,
I give you this ring
I give you this ring
as the pledge of my
as
love
the pledge of my love
and as the symbol of our unity.
and the symbol of our unity.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. It's there.
Okay, we're good.
Mackerel, As you place this ring on Bill's finger, please repeat after me. Bill, I give you this ring
Bill, I give you this ring
as the pledge of my love
as the pledge of my love
and as a symbol of our unity.
and as a symbol of our unity. Get on there. You do it. Thanks. Never alone.
That was beautiful. Now, by the powers vested in me by a 5-minute sign-up on getordained.com, I officially pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss now. I would like to present for the very first time as a married couple, Mr. Bill Curlin and Miss Kelly Gunn.